In a world where the planet is slowly dying and corporate greed flows through the veins of America, we as the people need to try and take back our planet and make it the way it should be, a place of peace, a place of nature, and a place to share. There are plenty of intelligent minds that can put a stop to our trash problem, but the only thing we can do is be the ones at the start of change, be the start of responsibility, and be the start of a new way of living. One of the many problems we have in America is the plastic we use every day, items that are made to be thrown away. There is no reason to make something just for it to be thrown in the trash. The logic behind this is beyond my comprehension. Also, the many other ways that we as humans affect our planet, for example, water pollution, has had a huge effect on our wildlife and sea life. When something like this can affect our health so much to where we're getting sick and dying, it's definitely something to pay attention to. The majority of the problems are fixable, but we have to make that difference to make sure we no longer do it. But one of the things that has one of the biggest impacts on health of the living things in the United States is the way we get rid of trash. Most throw them in landfills, but some is being burned, and that is polluting our air in ways that can be even worse than water pollution. The only thing burning trash does is put toxic fumes into our air and make everything and everyone around sick. Also, another example of pollution is the greed of oil. Oil is the biggest contributor to climate change, and that isn't going to be stopped unless people start to realize how much it really does to our ozone. The only reason the US isn't up in arms about climate change is because nothing really bad has happened yet. Well, at least in their eyes. For the well-educated, we understand that climate change is real and not just a conspiracy that China made up. We have actual scientific evidence that shows the change in temperature over time. The fact that every year breaks the record for the hottest temperature should be a red flag to anyone with a brain. The problem with humans is we all have our own opinion. I mean, that's not really a problem, but the problem is the way we implement those opinions into the real world. What I mean is that the reason we are like this is worrying about our planet and its future. It's all our fault, and we are the only ones to fix it. To put in perspective how real the danger is, we first have to look at the initial causes of climate change and our trash epidemic. First, we have fossil fuel industry that put carbon emissions into our atmosphere. Second is the carbon emissions from our cars. Third is our methane production from our landfills and agriculture. These are all the majority of things that make our planet hotter because of the way it affects our greenhouse gases. They are all there to make sure that our planet gets the perfect amount of sun, but because of us, we prevent it from happening. We need to, as the only race on this planet that can make the difference, to do something and prevent our future from being a grim and dark one. What it seems like to us is every time we try to do something different that could be good for our planet, or that could prevent us from shortening its life, always seems to backfire and destroy any possibilities that we had in the first place to make the next generation have a better life than to what we are leaving for them. But the bright side of this sad and dark truth is that we are making advances that, if kept up, can and will make a difference, but what we are doing is not enough. For some reason, history loves to repeat itself, and if we go along with that, we will never get to our goal of clean and sustainable resources. We will eventually run out of room and have to move to a different planet, or even worse, die out. So that's why we need to be the change. We need to stop being illogical and start to remake our world around us. We need to make it more eco-friendly and stop letting those big corporations tell us what to do. Then and only then will we make the difference that can change everything. Additionally, we need to find ways to use our trash and make it the new norm, meaning to use plastic or trash and recycle it either publicly or use it in our own home. We need to stop buying the things that are meant to be thrown away and buy reusable things that can last 100 times longer than the things we use today. Now, we are in the day and age where lots of other countries are much better than we are on renewable resources. For example, Germany and Finland have some of the top renewable energy in the world. This is something we really have to look at because us Americans love winning a lot, so we spend our money where it belongs. We could start being more green and look less like the loser and more like the winner, even though winning has nothing to do with making our planet better, but it's the only way to give those who didn't know our world was dying something to worry about. But those things that we have to get better in will take a long time, like solar. solar is something we already have in the US, but we don't have a lot of them. We need a lot more power to be able to power the entire US with just renewable resources, like solar power. But it can be done. Green, reusable resources are not out of our reach. We can easily use things like solar, dams, and wind to power our country. It's something that needs to be talked about more today in our government, but instead we go to war over oil and money. That's the driving force of the United States, and if changed, could change the way we think about the world around us. Wind power, like I said before, could take a big chunk out of all the oil and gas we use to power our electricity. The thing about wind is it takes lots of money and lots of time to build wind farms, but we have a lot of wasted space that can be used to build these wind farms and actually power much of the US. But there are things that we can use based on our situation right now that could really improve our relationship with the weather. Methane production on every landfill in the United States would create a lot of power. Also, because with our trash problems, we could actually make that difference. That could still be green, but work for now until we decide to go full-blown green in these coming years. But this plan for us could be the perfect way to go about it. To have a complete green power, this would be the best thing that could happen to us, but won't happen until we get those climate change deniers to disappear. The plan that could change all of our pollution problems is one that works, and one that works for everyone, one that creates jobs, and one that uses our planet to the best of its ability without hurting it, or changing its original composition, and make people more aware of what kind of impact it would make.